So the question that we do have is why, with all the Bitcoin being bought by the ETFs and stuff like that, are we actually still going sideways? With the ETFs looking strong, with the Bitcoin miners doing well, and not to mention the fact that Bitcoin is about to close at its weekly highest point, body closure, it's interesting. Should we be worried, or is this just us being really, really early and we're a bit impatient? Just a bit of a notice, by the way, I have blocked all comments. They'll be all moderated by myself. The comment section's mental. I know it's a pain, sorry. However, when they do it, they change numbers and characters. So whenever I put the phrase in, it gets blocked and then they change it straight away, which is shit. So put a comment. Let's see if it works properly. And yeah, let me know if you think we are early or not. Also, by the way, that thing here, it's a racing simulator. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll know. It is not someone spying on me. So, hello. The ultimate question is simple. Why isn't the BTC price moving despite the billions in ETF inflows? The 19th day of inflows. Traders explain why it hasn't led to a price surge. There's a couple of reasons, and I'm going to speculate on a few of them. Now, for obvious reasons, yes, lots of money going through, all that kind of good stuff. Now, ETFs for Bitcoin may need to open up in more markets first. That's kind of obvious, right? There's probably one really good example for why this is a bit of an issue, right? For me, I'm going to talk about the long-term holder movement is also huge here. There's a lot of people that are holding their Bitcoin, do not want to move Bitcoin. That will, over time, create a little bit of a supply crunch where we're going to start seeing a bit of a dry up on the open market. Now, obviously, the Mt. Gox situations came about recently. That's fun. But I'm going to have a little speculative guess here. My guess is that there's a lot of OTC movements going on. There's probably a lot of premiums being mentioned. And if an ETF provider wants to get Bitcoin, they may well offer more money for a lot of people to essentially help with taxation, essentially, and to allow them to get rid of Bitcoin at a higher price. The biggest problem with Bitcoin, is a T word. If you want to sell, if you've been holding for a while, your tax bill is going to be astronomical. It's obvious. It's the best performing asset on the planet, right? So when you think about the holders that have been around for 10 years and they've got a lot of Bitcoin, yes, even myself, I have that issue. I bought in 2016. So we're going to be somewhat careful. Now, other speculative elements is obviously to do with Coinbase. Coinbase, you can settle it on chain through the custodian with the likes of BlackRock, Fidelity. They may be doing it there as well. There'll be a lot of short selling. There'll be other ETFs selling as well. Not to mention they might be buying from miners. So it's not all doom and gloom. But this picture here paints a nice story. This is kind of how people are feeling right now. Why is it so bad? You've also got to look at the halving narrative. The halving element, right? And we've talked about this before. The first 100 days after halving, it tends to be a bit of a nothing burger. Then over time, it starts to ramp up. We are not at that stage yet. So I personally think we are early, personally. Just to give you some context about this, obviously, here are the inflows for the week, essentially. It's pretty, it's been really, really strong. And this is like the flows. It's been good. There has been a little bit of selling. ARK have been selling quite a bit significantly. There's been a big sell-off here. There's been a big sell-off here as well. They are trading these. So another thing why this could be an issue is obviously cryptocurrency whales or crypto whales are buying up Bitcoin like it's 2020. And it kind of says here in terms of the whales. So similar pace to before the 2020 bull run. The firm's data reveals daily injections of 1 billion into Bitcoin and significant holding by these whales. This mirrors similar activity. I do think we are early. Anyways, let's move on to something totally random. I've been talking a lot about the stock market and Bitcoin exposure. This is a really interesting one. Semler Scientific now holds 828 Bitcoin and has a 150 million plan to buy more. They are looking to do what MicroStrategy are. Now, if you don't know what this stock is, let me explain. It is a scientific company around the healthcare to support early detection of chronic illnesses. Now, this is potentially, this is a thing. We don't see many companies do this yet. It's so obvious, right? When we talk about this, we know, especially for me in the UK, I know America and Canada and other countries have different healthcare systems, but in the UK, this is, I know private companies and whatnot, most of the health sector is on its ass, basically, right? Due to the fact of the little bug design, which is by design, is inflation with money and capital, and obviously stuff gets more expensive and that becomes a problem. Basically, the NHS is a money pit, right? This is an alpha play, in my opinion, even though it is very, very early. The fact that these are looking to buy and have Bitcoin as its treasury to potentially grow their company wealth, technically, right? Now, let's be honest, it is a risky gamble, obviously. Buying Bitcoin at 68, 69, 70k Bitcoin, whatever, is relatively interesting. But in the long term, it could play out very well. So keep your eye on other companies buying into it. We all know the obvious ones, MicroStrategy, Circle, which is obviously Jack Dorsey's company and stuff like that. Probably going to become pretty normal soon. Other things to talk about, for obvious reasons, is Franklin Templeton are looking to basically create new altcoin-focused funds. Now, they haven't had the biggest and best success with the ETFs on Bitcoin, but private funds for institutional investments dedicated to altcoins could be the next thing. If you think of it like an ETF with a basket of funds, and let's just say like the Russell 2000 or the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, whatever, it doesn't sound too far-fetched to have a basket of altcoins of the top 10, the top 20, the top 30, top 50, whatever it may be, or individual ones such as, layer ones, currencies, or privacy, whatever, DeFi, could be massive. This could be huge. Now, obviously, yes, they are managing a lot of money, and yes, they are a player in the ETF fund. Not the biggest one, BlackRock, Fidelity, etc., much, much, much bigger. But this could be something that could get a lot of interest if they look to become a first mover to facilitate this. Already in Europe, you can see stuff like this. There's other products out there. And it does seem like the most logical step that we are going to see these come in the next couple of years. Just interesting to see when, though. Just before I carry on, please do like this video and hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. Let's get to that 100,000 subscriber level. And the final bit of news, which is interesting, is Kraken are looking around the possibility of an IPO fundraising round. There've been talk of this for a while. You can see that here. They were fine not too long ago with the SEC. And Kraken is a very well-liked, trusted exchange. I like it a lot. I do use it a lot. My company, Learning Crypto, use it quite a lot. It works very well. And it would be great to see these, become a part of the ecosystem for the IPOs with, obviously, Coinbase, etc. Obviously, we've got recent news talked about yesterday with Robinhood acquiring, Bitstamp. But I think in the next couple of years, you are going to see more and more blockchain technology, cryptocurrency exchanges, ultimately that sort of thing going onto the stock exchange, which is going to give it a more of a regulated clout. And it kind of works in a way in terms of these companies. Bitcoin mining infrastructure is huge, and I'm going to do a dedicated video on that. But Kraken seems like the most logical one to go onto the stock exchange eventually in the next coming years, in my opinion. So let's do some technical analysis. What we're going to do here today, a little bit different. We're going to clear the chart. We're going to look at this as a fresh bit of information. Now, the first thing we need to make note of there is a continuation pattern coming. It is a hidden bullish divergence, right? Now, what I tend to look at is the overall top to the market low, which is here. We have done a full correction, and we are kind of here. We're beyond the previous all-time high. That's huge. Now, for obvious reasons, we could see that potential next extension level is 83,700, give or take around that number. Obviously, it's not going to be flush because I'm not zooming in because I can't be asked. You get the idea. Obviously, the 1.618 is 102k. Possibly the next leg up. When we look at this, and I mentioned before, if this candle does close, it is very, very strong looking, and it looks like we are going to go in, hopefully, fingers crossed, run somewhere, but we'll see. The other obvious bit of information we can look at is this swing low to this swing high, pull back into the 382, and it all marries up with this 83,000. And I've talked about this many times, and I know people get bored of it. We could be looking at that level there as the retail FOMO area of the extension, where we have had a clear break of all-time high and people get really, 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 really excited. Now, for obvious reasons, this level here, and as we've talked about before, is the clear and obvious level of support. That level has held and probably will hold again if it goes and retested. So it's very, very interesting to see where we go next. Now, in terms of a continuation pattern, these sort of pullbacks, which we've had before many, many times throughout the history of Bitcoin, are long, boring, and fucking tedious, right? But we've had another one. Every time we tend to go up. There's nothing wrong with this trend at all, right? We are above the moving average 21. We are, well, the EMA 21. We're looking relatively strong in terms of the RSI, even though it's gone red on the Learning Crypto Trend and Momentum Indicator. By the way, if you want this, check out the Traders Lounge. Freaking brilliant indicator, by the way. Just saying. Now, this is still in the overbought situation. It's still looking relatively good. It is trending red. It might go amber, it might go green, and it might then go back up again. However, that next leg into looks really, really good, in my opinion. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. I think we are going to go and retest this. This level, closure levels, is going to be critical. I will say this, doesn't seem like an obvious situation, but it's all based on probability. There's more chance of this going up right now than it going down. Even though we're at levels of resistance, we've had multiple, 1, 2, 3. We're on our 4th retest. Normally, when you knock on the door enough times, it tends to break. You can go and try it at home. If you smash in your door enough, it'll break in. If you jump on the floor enough, you'll fall through it, right? It kind of makes sense. That's how technical analysis can work. I know a lot of people like my Bitcoin dominance analogies and the look of the market. I'm going to go a little bit deeper today. This could be fun. Now, this is what I want in life. I just want a big, fat, juicy, red, horrible collapse. Don't think somebody's easy as that. This has been very, very stubborn. Now, don't take consideration to technical analysis much on here. It's an index fund. But we're at a wishy-washy kind of area. Weekly time frame looks a bit disgusting. Levels are holding, but it's ultimately rejected here multiple times. This could, and it has showed signs of life where we could roll over. We've had broken structure. We've created a new low here. What if we do roll over and start going down? I'm going to back that theory up in a second because I've talked about this before as well. When we talk about the total 2/BTC, by the way, this is the downtrend. Yeah, it's not good, bro. But showing signs of life, yes, we have retested the EMA 21. Cool. The problem we have here, we are creating all kinds of lower lows, right? This is the interesting one. If we hold station around here and create a higher low, we might well then go and create a new high, and it shows a potential reversal sign. Altcoins have showed some signs of life. Not all of them, or a lot of them need to move, but some of them are showing signs of life, which is really, really positive. The problem is, it's slow, it's boring, and I know people are sick of it. Other things we need to be taking notice of. Are we going to get a correction on the Nasdaq? Now, come on. This is a freaking unbelievable move. Now, look at this, right? From the swing low here to the swing high, we have pulled back into this region, not even close enough to the 382, but kind of enough to kind of warrant, well, potential order blocks, etc. of liquidity. Boom. It has been earnings season. It has been a very well represented earnings season for a lot of things this quarter. And we probably are going to carry on going up a little bit. But we might well start to see cycle lows before the election. So please be mindful of that. And the final thing we need to talk about, I'm going to briefly touch on miners. I will do a dedicated video, so let me know if you really do want that. These are the Bitcoin miners. Now, I don't want to get you all really, really, really excited, but this is Wolf. This is one of them. Quite a lot of them look like this. You can see what happened in terms of the crypto cycle and then the meltdown and then where we are right now. There's a lot of returns here potentially, right? Another one is IREN, currently broken structure. As you can see how high it has been in the past. HUT is another one all the way up here from this run all the way up to these cycle tops. Look at where the dates are. They all coincide with the Bitcoin cycle crashing down to earth. All looking good. Same with Coinbase. Obviously, it's risen quite a bit, but as you can see here, the end of the cycle. CleanSpark is another great example. This ended a lot earlier, but ultimately had a bit of a spout up here too. but currently right here could fly higher. And the final one, and probably the most obvious one, let's be honest, MicroStrategy. Wouldn't recommend buying this because I think it's overvalued, but ultimately, again, it kind of followed through with the likes of the Bitcoin cycle with the miners and stuff like that. There's a massive world outside of crypto in the traditional markets that is the forefront of speculation with cryptocurrency. So bear that in mind. There we go. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy. Hopefully keeps you up to date. That hopefully explains some elements around why we're a bit sideways. We are at levels of resistance. It may not last forever. There is a lot of buying, there's a lot of bullish speculation out there. There's a lot of bullish news. That's really, really good to see, which is important, obviously.